Love it. Cool. Hello, everyone. Here with Alex. Obviously, we've been talking a little bit to start with. So for people who don't know, Alex was Bedfordshire throughout the pathway and then joined Leicestershire on the academy when you were 19. Is that right, Alex?
17. So when when Bedfordshire age groups finished, really.
Yeah. Cool. But, and then and now professional cricket at Leicestershire. So smashing it. So Alex, can you just sort of take us right back to the start then? When did you start playing cricket?
I think I've always had a bat or ball in my hand, really, since my dad was playing at Ampthill. And then from there, it's kind of just been a love of mine. I've got an older brother and then two really close family friends who both play at my local cricket club. And then it kind of only really started getting serious until I got into Bedfordshire under 11s. Like, I think I was 9. I remember feeling like I was on top of the world and playing. I thought, this is the pinnacle of cricket. And then every year from then, I always played for Bedfordshire. And then as the age groups kind of went on, I was playing a bit like a year above, but I didn't really do much. There was that EPP. Never really did anything of that. So it kind of got to the stage where I was thinking that is like, I just play cricket for the love of it, really. And then that's kind of where I've kind of started to kick on, because I try and never really forget about why I play cricket now, because I take it back to watching my dad, watching how he loved it, and I've kind of really gone from there. And then once I got into the academy, I've kind of never looked back since.
Yeah, wicked. So when you got in at 9, then what was it as? Was it as a bowler?
It was as a bowler, but I remember playing my first game. It was at Wearsley. I don't know if you still play any age group cricket there. And I got pulled aside and like, you're going to bat 13 today, but you will bowl. And I was so angry. If you ask anyone, I love batting. But I can distinctly remember, and someone asked me, who wants to bowl first over? And I think I put my hand up straight away, and my mum was there like, what are you doing? Yeah, it's so, I loved all the Bedfordshire age groups. So do you still do district and stuff like that?
No, not at the moment. Was there that when you were there?
Yeah, so you had district, you have North Beds and South Beds, and I remember getting my green cap off Brad Matthews. I don't know if he's still there, but Brad gave me my green cap, and that could be one of my proudest moments. And from there, you played North Beds, and then you played North Beds in one game, and then you played like South Northants, and then you played Kettering, and then from that you went into Bedfordshire like age groups, and then obviously kicked on from there. But that's all I can really remember from that. But yeah, what was the question again?
We're just talking about your first. How did you go in your first game?
Yeah, I think I took. I was asking my mum about this when we talked. I think I took 2 wickets. I can't. You probably.
Unbelievable.
Pardon?
9-year-old, 2 wickets.
two poles. I can't tell you what they were like, but probably dig them out on Play Cricket.
Cool. And then obviously you're a bowler now. Going through the bed system, how much opportunity did you get to bat?
Not as much as I'd like. I always thought I should be up the order a little bit more, but dad being the coach, he probably never let me bat. But yeah, you always get a good opportunity once you bowled your overs. It's usually you get 5 minutes at the end while everyone's packing their kit away and you've got a few spinners to bowl at you. But I'm sure it's changed now with you under the regime. But yeah, it's you got a bit like you're young, so I can only say how much I got. I can't really remember, but I do remember batting a lot. There used to be sessions where Alex Wakely would come in and it'd be a whole batting session. You wouldn't even bowl. And then some sessions it would be Will Sneath would come in and help you bowl, and you'd spend 2 hours bowling on a Sunday evening at 5 till 7. So yeah, I do miss those Bedfordshire sessions at, what was it, Bedford College, where you're based. I do miss them.
And then what other sports did you play? You're pretty good at rugby, weren't you?
Yeah, I tried to play as much as I could, really. Played a lot of rugby for Ampthill as well. Got a lot of good mates there. We also played cricket for Bedfordshire, which was quite a cool thing. Played hockey as well at school. Anything that school offered, really, I played. Just loved being in the competition. I think I've got a bit of. I love it. I love being in the battle of it. Like anything competitive. I think it's because I've got an older brother. I want to be better than him. So any sport we played, I was like, I need to be better than you. Never took to football though. I think if you'll ask anyone, my football skills aren't the best. I'm usually in goal out the way.
And then that being in the competition, then like going through the age groups, was that something you think drove you on, and or did that cause you any troubles at all socially?
I wouldn't say socially. I think once I crossed the line and kind of knew where, like, I was in the battle straight away, and then once I went off the pitch, it was never anything more than, I think I just loved winning. And being Bedfordshire, being quite a small county, like when we did win, it was amazing. It was the best time ever. And I think that's kind of really drive me on. I think I get told quite a lot now I've got a bit of white line fever. So once I cross the boundary, I'm a different person, which is, I quite like it. I quite like, even in net sessions, when I get to bowl at someone, it is straight away, once we get in a competition, it's a different like mindset, and all about getting someone out. I think I bowled at you in lockdown, and I'm still, if you watch every ball, I'm still like, oh. And but I had like sidearmed at my mate, and like every ball I'm trying to get into him. I don't know, I try not to, but it's just anything I do I'm trying to win.
Yeah, I did enjoy that, mate, in end of May, just getting a massive send-off for a professional cricketer, just trying my hardest. Yeah, I think that's interesting then. So it's almost that switch that then makes you better. Do you think that's something you've developed over time, to then off the field you can go, oh, actually, here's what I'm like on the field, so therefore don't judge me on it? Or
I think when I was on the academy, I think I maybe went a bit too far. It's almost like being Leicestershire being a small county. I've almost had, like, I've coming from a small county as well. In Bedfordshire, I've kind of gone from small Bedfordshire to smallish Leicestershire. I'm almost like, we've got to beat the bigger counties, and I wouldn't, off the pitch, all I'd be thinking about was winning. So I think from there, I never switched off from the competition. It was sort of, I've got to beat them. I wouldn't speak to them at tea or lunch. I would only focus on my team. I wouldn't, and I almost had a chip on my shoulder, almost like, we're smaller than them, like we need more respect, if you know what I mean. So that's where I think it kind of comes from, and that's probably where my desire to win comes from mostly. It's like, I've always felt like we're the underdogs, and I don't like being the underdogs. I want to be on top. I want to be winning every game, and I think that's kind of where it comes from. I think I did take it too far. I send someone off when I was bowling, and I didn't need to, but it's how I get myself psyched up. Once I get someone caught at long on, I'm like, come on, like, I'll be really revving myself up to get another one, to keep myself going.
Yeah.
There is periods of once you start playing longer formats of cricket where it does get flat. I think that's how I got myself revved up. I would get stuck into someone. I think when I played it in my last game for Bedfordshire, that's what kept me going. I was like, I want to win this. I want my last send off for Bedfordshire to be in a winning battle, and then luckily enough it was against Leicestershire.
Yeah, brilliant. But then I obviously, I know you're off the pitch, you're incredibly likable, you've got a massive group of friends. Like, I think people watching this might then sympathise with that and go, oh, I can have loads of friends off the pitch but then be a different person on it. So yeah, is that how we found?
I always say, I think it's about having balance. Like, even training, playing, you've got to have a good sort of work life, but like playing, you've got your game there, like, what is it, 6 hours on the pitch. Off that, you don't I try not to talk about cricket as much as I can. I probably do talk about it all, but I consciously make an effort not to only talk about cricket. And I think being able to switch off is what makes me almost be able to switch back on straight away. So I can switch back on into training. I can really get into it. I can devote 100% of my energy to it. And then once I'm off the pitch, or once I'm out of the hall training, I kind of switch off. I can relax, and I'm not back home thinking about it. But I think when I was younger, I had training in the evenings, like 6 till 9, and once past 9, I was thinking about a ball I bowled at a batsman only in training, and it went down leg. And that's where I found it tough to switch off. And that's where I think with my friends as well, I'd not neglect them, but I wouldn't spend as much time with them because I was thinking about what I could do to get better.
And so you mentioned there at 15, 16, you weren't on Bedfordshire's EPP or weren't at a first class county. When do you think that switched then to you improving, or what made you switch as well?
I don't know. I think I played a bit of minor counties, like the second team stuff. I don't know if that still goes.
Yeah.
The development cricket, and that's where I really got the taste of it. I was playing against better players, and really I got a few wickets. And I'm like, oh, I can do this. And then I made my men's debut at, I think it was 16, wasn't it? And it was like, this is what I love. I love doing this. I love playing it, like just that sort of competition. It steps up. I think once you get there, you realise it, and that's when you kind of know you've got the bug for it. But yeah, I always used to say to my dad, I need to be on an academy. I need to be. I was 15. I'm not going to be a professional cricketer until I'm on an academy. And my dad was like, just wait. And I'm lucky I did wait for a while. But it used to be the only thing I could think about was I'm not on the Northants Academy, because that was the closest one to us. And that I used to say, I need to be on it. Emilio's on that academy. I need to be on it. I need to be getting something, like I need to be on there, because I think there's a few other lads that went to Northants that year, under 15s. So that's where I think I was a bit impatient, and I think that probably reflected on my cricket. I wasn't enjoying it as much. And then once I kind of took a step back, played a few Bedfordshire first team games, and then I started really enjoying cricket. And that's where I think I started to flourish.
So what made you, when you're 15 then, and some other people have moved to a first class county, what made you stay apart from your dad?
Probably not being good enough, really. I kind of thought, if they haven't asked me to go play for them, why should I? Almost like, if they don't think I'm good enough, I should probably just stay at Bedfordshire, enjoy my cricket, play with all my mates. And I think probably I started enjoying cricket once. I just loved always playing for Bedfordshire, but I always thought, is there something more? And like watching Northants, watching people do well for Northants, is like, maybe that's them. They're going to be the pros who I've ever played with. And I kind of start to rule out being a professional cricketer. So again, like my dad, I said to my dad, I need to be on it. If I'm going to do it, if I'm ever going to be a pro, I need to be on an academy. And I'm glad I waited, because it shows you don't need to do it. You don't need to go to Bunbury at 15. You don't need to play Super Fours. You just need to do the right thing. You need to do the right job. Do your job as a bowler, do your job as a batsman, and the success will come. I definitely believe that.
Definitely. And so at 16, you're at Bedford Modern, and then you moved over to Malton College. I think we spoke about this, like in terms of your training volume. You sort of talked about how much increased. Can you sort of talk about that?
We at Malton, we used to train 6 hours a week at Northants. It was basically it was structured, but it was just play cricket for as long as you can. I think the amount of volume I had bowling, the amount of volume I had batting, really helped me as a cricketer, though. So you can always say you need to hit 10,000 balls to be, to be perfect or something. I think that I can't remember what the saying is.
10,000 hours.
10,000 hours, yeah. And obviously, I can't remember. I don't know if I've done that, but it's the amount of volume, of actually being around people that just were playing cricket. Some of it might not be as beneficial as it could be, but you're still hitting balls, you're still bowling balls, you're fielding. It's always a chance to improve. I think there there's a whole school term, and every Monday or every Tuesday and every Wednesday you'd train, and then you had the help of an S&C coach. So you're around an environment where it was just cricket based, and even in the work you did there, like the school work, you were with cricket lads, so it was all just talking about cricket, and you're in the environment. You're just in an environment where cricket is everywhere, so you can't really get away from it. But it's quite a good environment to be in if you love it. So I think I'm a bit of a badger for it, but I really do think that helped me as well. And I think making the change from BMS to Malton was something that I felt was good for me, and it's a good course to be on if you love cricket and you want to train every day. I think that doing the volume of it helped me loads.
Do you think that would have been the same if you weren't at any of those schools and you were just or you dropped out of school at 16? Do you think just netting for 2 to 3 hours a day with people who love it would have been as beneficial as what do you think?
I don't know. I think at Malton you had the opportunity to watch the pros train as well. So when you were training, Adam Rossington would be hitting as well. So you watch them as well, and you kind of think, that's what I want to do. That they're getting paid to do that. That is the best job in the world. And I think that's what really drove me. But I do think the amount of netting you do, say you did the same amount as me, but you didn't have the facilities at Northants. I think it would be tougher. But if you're in the environment and you love it and you've got the passion to do it, I do believe you could get there.
And you mentioned S&C then. What sort of changes did you make S&C wise?
I think it was actually just being in the gym, like getting stronger. I never really focused on it. I was like, I'll grow into my body. I'll get bigger naturally. And I think I was a bit naive in that fact. I never really focused solely on the gym in my first year at Malton. And then once I got onto the academy at Leicester, I was training there. I was also training at Malton. And it can't, like, it's just a fact. You've got to do it. Everyone's got to do the S&C work to be a professional cricketer. Like, you're not gonna get through a whole season and not be injured if you don't do the work. And I think I was a bit naive in that as well. I think we had to do a 3-minute plank to get in the academy at Leicester. I think it was just like a little mental challenge. I used to put it off. Until I think I put it off till March, until the season started. And I was like, I'll crack on, because I wanted to be on the academy so bad. But something like that, I think it's so easy to put off, because you don't think it's that important. You think hitting cricket balls and bowling balls and being able to hit the top of off is what's going to make you a pro. But it's the attitude of being around the S&C. Like, you could put 110% in, and I think that's more. It shows more about you in the gym. Like, you're willing to do the little nitty gritty bits to go that extra step further.
And what are those, just for people who obviously don't have an S&C? Like, what's the kind of stuff you do?
So as a bowler, we do a lot of like leg based stuff. So towards the seat, so in the so probably October to December, it's probably heavy lifting, trying to get as strong as you can. So like deadlifts, squats. Then do a lot of core based work as well, trying to make the trunk of your body like as stable as you can when you're bowling. So for me, I've got a big collapse in my action. That's probably because I was weak. I was quite weak in my core. So that's something I've probably noticed, and then obviously the S&C have noticed it straight away, and they kind of really hammered it in. And then after Christmas, it's more volume work, so you do a lot more lifting, but it's probably lighter. And then once you go into the season, it's just maintenance.
And how much sort of cardio do you do around that?
So we do have about 2 or 3 conditioning sessions a week. So I do one on a Sunday, and you get one on a Tuesday, and then we have like a fielding conditioning session, which is quite good. So it kind of keeps you engaged, but you're doing a lot of cardio in it as well. But I think it is vital. I found in lockdown, just running 5Ks, you get the same amount. Like, it's sort of giving you the same workload through your back, but it just keeps you ticking over. Like, you can be as fit as you can. And for me, it was just about staying fit, so I had the opportunity to play when I did. So that was key for me. I think I was a bit naive in lockdown as well. I kind of put it off. I'd do 1 5K a week, but I'd see other people doing it, so I've got to do it because they're doing it. And then, so I think that was massive for me.
Do you do any like sprints at all, or is it just long distance?
So we also have, like, at the start of every session, we have a sprint session, just like technique, because it's always going to benefit you if you're running a single, you're running to chase down a ball. As a bowler, sprint technique for me in my run-ups vital. It just makes me feel as smooth as possible, and that really benefits me.
Cool. And then, so sort of going back slightly to when you were at Malton, I think you mentioned that Leicester picked you up because you did well against them. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah. So it was the Royal London, like whatever the Bedfordshire age groups playing, the 50 over competition, and we were in the semi-final against Leicester. And we played at Uppingham School, and we kind of went into it thinking, oh, they're Leicestershire, they're a first-class county, they'll probably beat us. And it was a lot tighter than that. I think we sort of put up a really good fight. I think we put 250 on the board, and it went to the second last ball. It went down to, and yeah, it was crazy. It was great game. Probably one of my favourite games. I think Sam Bates at Leicester, who plays now, Nat Bowley played. I'm trying to think who else played. No, that's it. Who's on the staff now? But it's strange to think that I was playing against them, and now I'm playing with them. It's weird to compute.
And how did you get on then? What made them notice you?
I took 3 for, but then I got stuck into them quite a lot. Like that thing, I got my back up. I tried to get stuck into them, tried to get myself in the game. I spoke to the academy director after I made my first class debut, and he was like, the thing that made me notice you was you made a stop at backward point. And that's what he said. I don't know how much I think that was making me feel a bit better. But yeah, I think that was what he said to me. That's what that got me noticed. My fielding, I just threw myself around for 15 overs, tried to make as many stops as I could. I put my body on the line just to get myself closer to winning.
And so, if you hadn't performed in that game, then they wouldn't have picked you then.
I wouldn't have been where I am today, I don't think.
Did you have any sort of hesitation going into that game then? What were your feelings knowing that, if I put in a shift today, I might get a contract or whatever, an academy place?
It's always in the back of your mind, like we play Northants as well, and you're always thinking there's selectors here, and round under 17s cricket, there's usually like people just look like not scouts, but like people who know Northants coaches, people who know Leicestershire coaches, and then they sort of put your name forward. Yeah. Because we've been around the Bedfordshire setup as well, like the men's team, I think you get noticed there as well. But I was quite hesitant. I think it's more the fact that they were a first-class county. I think that's what, more than who they are, it was the name of them that you're playing against Leicestershire. I think when you play any first-class team, you get the same sort of feeling.
And then obviously did well, got into the academy. What was the transition like then for you moving up to the first team?
Oh, massive. It was. I remember going from Bedfordshire to Leicestershire. We had gym sessions. We're training 3 times a week at Bedfordshire. It's not as professional as that because they're a first class county. They have the facilities to do it. And I remember that I was so overwhelmed for like my first 3 sessions. I was like, what have I got myself into here? Like, do I belong here? And you get used to it. You start getting in, then you do your second year in the academy and start being around the pros a little bit more. You start to get the taste of it, and then once you get onto the pro staff, you're like, well, this is my job now. Like, you've got to perform to earn your money, really. And that's like pretty black and white, but like you're expected to do all these little things that I took for granted on the academy, and then it only until I started like getting on the pro, my attitude changed towards around them. So like being in the gym now, it's massive for me. I like to do everything. I like to get everything done to perfection. Like it's I try and make everything perfect, but there's no such thing as being perfect. And I get myself like caught up on them, and then it probably reflects my cricket a little bit more. So like you've got to be on it every session. Like every throw you do in a fielding session has to be over the top of the stumps. Like, and it's expected because you are a professional. And that's what I found the hardest step up in everything is the expectations that I put on yourself. So if I went from Bedfordshire to the academy, I thought I was expected to hit off stump every time. I thought that was what was required of me as a bowler. Then once I went on to from the academy to the pro staff, that was sort of the same, but I've got to do it 6 out of 6. Whereas in reality, that is I think the only person who would ever do it would probably be Jimmy Anderson. He is the best ever. So I think the expectations you put on yourself once you go on the staff and once you get into these setups is quite tough. That's what I think as a player. I think that's the toughest part.
Yeah, I was going to say, so like that's something I think everyone in the pathway sort of deals with, that pressure of having to perform. How do you cope with it?
So pressure, I do feel it quite a lot. I get quite nervous. So not really when I bowl. It's more watching the game when I'm batting. It's like not because it's out of my control. I'm just sitting there watching. When I'm bowling, once I'm in the game, I feel a little bit better. But we had this. Like I noticed I speed up quite a lot. So in white ball cricket, I want to get back to my mark, just bowl. I don't really ever take the time. You have a lot more time than you think. So I'd get to the end of my mark. I wouldn't look at my field, just try and bowl. And I think I didn't really cope with pressure that well until I started realising. So I started speaking to the coaches. That's when I started to work out a plan. I go around to my mark, I take a breath, then I run in. I assess everyone. I look at where my field is. I know what ball I'm going to bowl. And at the end of my mark, now I say commit. It's just once it's in my head, I've just got to commit to it. I've got to give everything I have to that ball. I think that makes me cope with pressure a little bit better, knowing that I've got 100% confidence in the ball I'm going to bowl, whether it's an away swing or if it's a slower ball. As long as I've got 100% commitment to it, I know I'm going to be all right.
And you talked about working out a plan then. What do you think has helped you in working out a plan? Is it just playing cricket? Is it watching cricket? Is it all of the above? Is it coaches?
I think it is all of the above. Like you've got, even if everywhere, every setup you're in, you've got a lot of resources. Like you've got however many coaches that have played a good standard of cricket. Speak to them, like try and pick their brains. Like Tom Smith at Leicestershire, I chew his ear off because he's played so many first class games. I kind of see why not. I love it. I think it's so good to speak to them, and that's why I've started formulating my plan around. So I speak, because he's quite similar bowler to me. He's a seamer. I'm like, did you ever try and swing it? Did you ever set up players like this? And it all goes back to the same thing. It's all about basics. But I do think picking everyone's brain, like you can try and chew someone's ear off because they won't care. If they're a cricketer, they're going to love talking about cricket as well. So I think, but I was quite nervous to do so. Like we had Phil de Freitas on the academy. He was our academy mentor. I used to absolutely bore him to death with just asking him what he did then. Like, how did you do it? And I don't regret anything because it is probably maybe the player I am today, and forming a structure around picking what the best players did to make yourself the best player. You kind of got to be quite selfish about it.
And then you talked about like asking advice, but then formulating your own plan. How do you interact then with sort of more technical or tactical advice? What's the process for you?
When in a game situation, I try not to think about technical stuff too much. That's all winter. So I've had a block now of trying to redo my action a little bit, just a few little changes just to make myself a better bowler. And then once it's into like a tactical scenario, it's all about skill. It's all about how I'm going to get them out, how I'm going to bowl my best ball as often as I can to get them out. In a situation I speak to at white ball, I speak to Daffy quite a lot about, because he's taken however many wickets for England, but he always talks about knowing the situation you're in. So knowing where your fielders are, knowing what your best three balls are, knowing that you're going to execute them in that situation. So speak to a lot of different people about how they react in those situations. And then that's how I formulate my own little plans. I know to left-handers, I want to push them across. I know to a right-hander, I want to try and run them back as well. So it's sort of working out, knowing yourself, but then picking other people's knowledge and using that to your advantage.
Yeah, definitely. And then obviously we've got a lot of people listening to this. They're probably looking at you, gun pro cricketer. What's your best piece of advice to give to them?
Love the grind. Absolutely love the grind. You got to love every training session, every match. Just give it 110%. If you think you're down and out of the game, you're not. Like you've got to just keep fighting. Always love it. Just enjoy it as much as you can, and just enjoy the grind.
Brilliant. Cool. Thank you very much, Alex.
Thank you.